released this record. It comes out, it's the biggest thing ever. You were great on Saturday Night Live, by the way.
Appreciate it.
And it was, oh my gosh, so good, so different and so well done. It was just fantastic.
I love when artists grit their teeth.
You created this massive cultural award-winning anthem out of a battle rap song.
My intent from day one was to always keep the nature of it as a sport. I think a lot of people was putting rap to the back, and you didn't see that grit, you didn't see that bite anymore.
It's not enough.
All right, before we get into this, real quick, hope all of you are doing good out there. And a massive thank you to every single one of you who had my back through all the Drake smear campaigns and the chaos. Seriously, it means everything. Before we go any further, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps more than you know, and it shuts down any chance for their little crash out games to actually work. But now, I don't want to talk about that anymore. What I do want to talk about is something I noticed about Kendrick Lamar and the way he closed out his tour.
Man, early on, G Malone, Problem, Bad Luck.
Now look, I'm sorry if you don't want to hear this, but the donut shop is open. And honestly, what I realized hit me so hard, it literally made me cry, because what happened on that stage wasn't just a performance. It was something deeper, something spiritual. And what I'm about to say, nobody else has put this together. Not like this. When Kendrick wrapped up this leg of the Big Steppers tour with those 2 final shows, something bigger was happening. Way bigger than sending messages to the industry or rivals or anything like that. And we gotta address this head on before we go any further.
I think that Kendrick has like the utmost potential, man. Like, you know, I see Kendrick tomorrow, I'm a dap him.
I've always been a fan of his music. Shout out to Drake.
Let's focus in on the Argentina show. The energy, the passion, the spirit in that building. It wasn't just Kendrick being the best rapper alive. Nah, he was channeling everything, every emotion, every memory for somebody else. Somebody who was with him the last time he was on stage in that part of the world. Lollapalooza, 2019, right before Kendrick went on, he lost a friend, a dear one, the late, great Nipsey Hussle. And I'll be honest, I didn't even remember that until recently. I was re-listening to the Mr. Morale era, going through Kendrick's recent work, and then it hit me.
We haven't even had a chance to crash out about it because everything been moving fast, like far as production and rehearsals and stuff. So we speak, but we haven't really got a chance to settle into the moment. For me personally, watching her, her career and where she's come from.
The Heart Part 5. He said it himself. He broke down crying that day before the show in Argentina. He just lost somebody who meant everything, not just to him, but to the culture, to the community, to everything they both stood for. So just think about that for a second. Kendrick, back in that same city, on that same soil, where the last time he performed there, he got the worst news of his life. And now he's back, taking hip-hop further than it's ever gone. His whole catalog, his whole career, coming full circle in that very spot. I'm sure Nipsey's looking down, seeing how far this art form has gone, seeing how his own hustle, his own spirit inspired Kendrick to go bigger, to be greater. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but think about that moment. Think about how we all felt when we heard the news. Seeing Kendrick push through one of the hardest sets of his life, and now, years later, watching him channel all that pain into one of the most powerful performances we have ever seen. That's the power of music. That's the power of hip-hop. It's a universal language, a way to say things we can't even put into words. So I had to put this out there because I don't think enough people are talking about it. But before we keep going, rest in power to the legendary Nipsey Hussle. And shout out to anybody you're missing today. Now, with that said, the theme for the rest of this conversation, greatness on another level. And when it comes to Kendrick Lamar's GOAT case these past few days, it's not just strong, it's undeniable. From that final tour stop to the cosign he just got from arguably the greatest rapper of all time beside him. This feels like watching Jordan get the gold medal after the finals. The ultimate respect from the ultimate peer. Let's start with the final show of this leg. I don't even need to talk, just watch this. Cue crowd roaring to Family Ties. You see that? That's not just a concert, that's a movement. Kendrick is the best in the game, and it's not even close. And by the way, how fitting is it that Family Ties has become this generational anthem, dropping right in the middle of the whole CLB versus Donda era, when Drake was trying to step over Kendrick, and look which track held up, look which one still hits like a freight train. That's not an accident, that's tactics. That's vision. But what's even more interesting, Kendrick's outfit at the final show. He brought back the crown. He switched up the colors. And yeah, I see that hat with the card symbols, the same symbols he wore once before, back when Schoolboy Q was in the mix. You think that's a coincidence, or is he teasing what's next? Is TDE coming back? I'm not gonna speculate too hard, but something's brewing. Now, let's get to the real moment, the one that changes the GOAT conversation forever. Nas just spoke on Kendrick, and what he said was historic. Kendrick is one of the brightest stars we have ever seen. And I don't only mean superstar, I mean like the North Star. I think he's one of those stop, right there, let that sink in. The North Star. That's not just praise, that's prophecy. That's Nas, the man who wrote Illmatic, the purest embodiment of hip-hop, calling Kendrick the guiding light for the whole culture. That's like Jordan calling Kobe the one. And Nas didn't stop there. He called out the artists who aren't here for the art, who are damaging the culture. You don't think he's talking about a certain someone caught up in lawsuits and smear campaigns? He's saying what we've all been feeling. Hip-hop needs to thrive, and sometimes it takes a Kendrick to remind us where we're lacking. Now think about the relationship these two have. Kendrick wanted Nas on Sing About Me. Nas congratulated Kendrick after the Super Bowl. The only one who did, according to We Cry Together. They've been connected for years. And behind the scenes, I've heard things. I'm not gonna put any rumors out there, but Nas has new music coming. And let's just say, a certain Compton prophet might just make an appearance. So here's my question to you, and I want you to answer in the comments. When do we stop the GOAT debate? Because at this point, with the legacy, the impact, the timeless albums, the greatest rap beef win of all time, the Super Bowl, the tour, and now the cosign from Nas himself, is there really still an argument? Kendrick hasn't dropped a mid-album, never compromised. Took authenticity to a level we haven't seen since Pac. If you don't have Kendrick in your top 3, I'm not sure what hip-hop you're listening to. We might be watching the GOAT, not of this generation, of all time. So let me know, what do you think about the emotional connection to Nipsey, the final tour show, Nas's legendary cosign, and where does Kendrick stand in your GOAT list? Drop a like, join the conversation, and if you really want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, stick around. Because what I found out after the Drake stands came for me this week, you're not ready.